All right, episode 108. What's going on, everyone? We
Back
have a
at it.
lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, full show. Ben Ryan Chase back at it, episode 109 or 108.
I think we got 108.
Okay, you said 108, so
Yeah.
I had to question it.
Okay.
No, quick baseball update to start. Dive into the Stanley Cup Finals. Oilers obviously taking a big fall in Game 3. NBA Finals update. That series, it seems like it takes 7 weeks for a game to happen, so we're only 2 games in. Quickly touch on that early split. The Pacers hanging in the first 2 games in OKC. WNBA update. We're now a couple weeks into the season. So, Ben's going to want to touch on that. And actually a first WNBA experience for AFR as well. And then, as always, we'll wrap up with a NASCAR update. So, Ben Ryan Chase, let's just jump right in, boys. Quick baseball update. Who wants at it?
I'm going to ask you first how you're doing with 10 days before your wedding.
I'm doing great. We're hanging in there. The boys have got my back. We're starting to buzz a little bit, coming up with some plans, final touches on everything. Excited to celebrate with everyone. But yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. Also, Ben's wife canned, and she made me strawberry rhubarb jelly. I don't know how many people even know about rhubarb, let alone strawberry rhubarb. I guess it's jam, not jelly.
Jam.
Super pumped, super stoked. This old classic jar, just like my grandma used to do it. So shout out you, JB. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, between the jam and the wedding, I got a lot going on.
I feel like one is bigger than the other, but yeah.
So
all right, well, yeah, we'll dive in. Quick baseball update. I can go first. Mets, they're rolling recently. They did what they need to do against the teams they needed to do it against the Rockies, and then they took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, won the series, which was huge, and won the season series now. So that, don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but that does have implications for the playoffs if it were ever to come to that. So that's big. And that pitching staff, they have 4 guys now with under 3 ERAs in their pitching staff. Sean Manaea has done rehab starts. Frankie Montes is doing rehab starts, so they're getting healthy, which is exciting. Lindor, playing with a broken toe, is still just doing his thing. Love to see it as a fan, just a guy that's like, trucking out there clearly in pain. He wasn't in the game against the Rockies a couple nights ago. They put him into pinch hit, tie game in the 9th inning. He comes through with a two RBI double to win the game. As a fan, you'd like to see that grit and a guy that wants to play. I mean, Lindor's a guy that's usually playing 150 plus games a year. Him and Pete Alonso both. So pretty exciting there. I don't know what the Rockies and Dodgers are doing. Both of them were intentionally walking Soto to get to Pete Alonso, and Pete Alonso is just on fire right now. I mean, he's
been on fire the whole year.
Yeah, but he's back. He's hitting over 300. He's got 17 home runs. He leads the major leagues in RBIs, over 60 already. He's really benefiting from being behind Lindor and Soto getting on base. Soto's starting to heat back up. His average is back to 250, which may not be high, but from where it was, he's doing a lot better. He's got
250 is not bad at all
and he's got 12 home runs. He's getting kind of back. He went 3 for 3 the other day. He's already got a home run tonight. He's kind of back to kind of swagger again. He's kind of laughing more. And, I think people forget that Lindor, his first year as a Met, I mean, he had 230. He was getting boos. Him and McNeil got an altercation in the dugout that was very public and very visible. And it was a lot of bad looks all around. And now, like Lindor, you're 4 years into Lindor, 5 years into Lindor as a Met, and he's, I would say the captain of that team. So, Soto's going to be there for a long time, and I think he just needs to settle in. It's a new team, it's a new home, it's a new job, and so I'm excited to see the team kind of meshing well as we get in these dog days of summer. And got to just keep taking care of business, keep doing their thing, and for all baseball teams, just staying healthy at this point and kind of, weathering the storm that will come. So happy where they are, and keep it on rolling. So
I like it. I can take the Phillies for a little bit. I don't know. I think it's like we'd said last week too. It's just those days where they go through a little bit of a lull and it's inside out. But I do kind of wonder if it's the locker room too, just kind of gets in its own way. And sometimes I feel like Bryce Harper doesn't always come out and just be like hold everyone accountable for uh and himself too, which is
Yeah.
like the biggest thing. Like I feel like they kind of just let themselves get in the way of things, and when they do start to sputter, kind of takes a little bit longer for them to get back on track. And they do have some games to play with here, but it's still not a good time to be messing around with losing games against winnable teams too, where they went out and they beat some really bad teams a couple weeks ago. And I feel like since then they just haven't had the same kind of production and uh I guess attitude in a way too, in sometimes. But I don't know. I definitely want to hear what you think about Orion, where it's like your thoughts on them and how they've been going for this stretch of the last like week and a half, where it's just kind of been mixed.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like honestly, I really like your take on the off the field because, like, I mean, we see the product on the field, but maybe it is a lot of it off the field. I think Harper does play a big role. I was going to use him as the on the field. He hasn't had a great year. His average is down. Um, but just having him in that lineup, they finally had a nice secure lineup going. And you wonder if that wrist was bothering before that day off a couple days ago. Now, obviously, he's on the injured list, but wondering how long that's been bothering him. He's been in and out the last 2 weeks, getting hit in the elbow, and now that, and they're just kind of all over the place. Seems like they're getting a little analytic heavy with the hardcore right-handed heavy lineup for lefties, vice versa for righties, and just being straight up honest, the right-handed lineup hasn't done as well. So you wonder, like, should we just be playing Bryson Stott every day right now? Bohm's back over at first, so they're trying to plug in guys at third, but they want Bohm at third. So I'm gonna honestly, Chase, your point. I'm gonna lean on that. I think a lot of it has to do with off the field. I'm gonna put a lot of it on Rob Thompson again as well. Um, their bullpen's not great. They're getting into these late inning games, 10, 11 innings the last couple of nights, and he's still just churning through them, good inning or not, and gets a little frustrating at times. And yeah, across the board. So yeah, from the top down, Rob Thompson, off the field, Harper. I think that's the biggest thing right now. And it's no panic mode. I mean, they're gonna have to generate some more runs because their bullpen's not reliable. We all know that. And figure out Nola too. He seems like setback after setback with him right now, and it's kind of frustrating in that end. He's another reliable guy in the pitching staff, so you kind of Harper on one side, Nola on the other. And I mean, I'm not giving up. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win the division by any means. I wouldn't have. I mean, I'd take second place right now for how the season's gone, and injuries do seem like they're stacking up across the league, though, this year. I know, Chase, you mentioned, I think, early in the year about, like, sometimes putting guys on IL just to put them on IL, especially earlier in the season. But it's affecting not just the Mets and the Phillies, but
Well, I mean, honestly, the Mets, if I'm like, there have been years the Mets have been injury riddled. This is not one of those years. I mean, yes, their two main starting pitching signees haven't played yet, but they've had that luxury because their guys have performed. They really haven't had the injury bug so far, knock on wood. And we'll talk about this more as we get later into the months, but the Phillies are going to probably be in that same boat of, some pieces they might look to acquire at the deadline. I know the Mets, I mean, one of the things I look at is center field. They have a glaring hole. They signed Jose Siri in the offseason. He's been injured pretty much all year. Tyrone Taylor's a great defender, great athlete. He's like a guy who looks like he's just a great athlete, but he doesn't hit much. So you would really love to have someone else there. And the perfect trade partner for them, I mean, Luis Robert's going to be available, and he seems like a perfect fit for the Mets in center field, someone that they could use, has more of a bat than what they have, and probably will become available depending on the asking price. So I'd love to see the Mets make a run at him, depending on what they need back.
do you value? I'm just saying like the Tyrone Taylor, he's an amazing athlete. And I kind of think about this with the Rojas too. I mean, playing in the National League, we went years of you basically having a dud hitter in the 9-hole. Like, are you that out on sacrificing?
No, I just think Taylor's a better like platoon guy. I don't think he's best at his best.
Is his defense not elite enough to have him playing in the outfield every day?
It is, but I don't think his bat is good enough to be our everyday outfielder on a championship winning team.
Okay, so you're saying you have to have 9 hitters that can hit.
I think with the DH, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's a valid point. It's a question because
I still want Taylor to be playing a decent amount, but I think it's valuable for a lot of players to have maybe someone like him to have a couple more days off. I mean, he was signed. He was never a regular player when he was signed with the Mets, so sometimes it's just it's a lot more.
It's just a thought because the Phillies have chunked plenty of plays in center field with Rojas not out there because his bat's not always the best. But
speaking of center field, just real quick, did you guys see that catch yesterday?
Oh my goodness!
From the A's,
Mm-hmm.
That was ridiculous.
Insane.
The rob of it seems like the Angels ballpark is a great place to rob balls, not just because Mike Trout's been playing there, but seen a lot of good robs.
That was insane. I don't think I've ever seen something like that. That was crazy.
Yeah. That was
But all right, we can keep on rolling here, keep this podcast moving.
Yeah.
We plenty more weeks to talk about some baseball. We will probably have some breaks, just warning you guys, coming up with wedding stuff, potentially paternity leave, things like that. So what AFR paternity leave, I don't know what the policy is, but we'll have to dive into the rule book, handbook on that one. All right. Well, moving on to hockey.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup.
We're gonna move on. First off, there's a reason why Ben has baseball before the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals. But just real quick, because I feel like you're not even that big of a football fan, but I guess because baseball is not on, you watch more football. Ben, there's been 5 games total between the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals so far. I want to know how many minutes you've watched. I want to know how many minutes of action. I'm not saying everyone has time to sit down and watch a full game. No one does in this day and age. I just want to know how many minutes
so NBA
combining.
Finals.
So there's been what, Chase, 180 minutes of Stanley Cup time. So for actually more.
Yeah, because it was double overtime.
Over 200 minutes. And then NBA wise, you're looking, let's just say 100. So there's been like 300 minutes of sports.
10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay.
That Stanley Cup, I watched a little bit when you kind of forced me.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Because you were staying up to watch the Mets Rockies. And I'm not saying you have to set aside, because I still watch the Phillies sometimes when these games are on but there's nights where the Mets aren't playing and these are on, or the Mets play earlier and this is later.
I made it much more of a point this year to watch almost not every game, because it's very hard to watch every single baseball game. But like I'd say 75% of the Mets games, I've made it a point to try to watch them.
Is there any reason?
I just feel like like last year, I feel like I watched some of them, but then I like get to the end of the season and like regret that I didn't watch more.
Okay. So it's not necessarily you're putting down the Stanley Cup or the NBA Finals.
No, well, the NBA Finals just feels like a trash matchup. I don't really care.
Okay. If Braun was playing, you'd be watching more. Stop. You would be. So if the MLB season was flipped with football, would you be watching these? Would you be watching more of these games? Or no, would you still be at 10 minutes?
I maybe watch a little more football, only because my fantasy, I feel like sometimes make me watch more football. And like betting, and not that I bet much, but some of that's more involved with football. I mean, I watched 0 NHL regular season games this year, and I'm ashamed to say that, but I've watched a couple full periods of the finals so far. Okay, look at you.
And my knowledge is connecting the dots through Chase and this podcast.
No, but I to Ryan's point, I have not watched hardly I've watched 0 of the NBA Finals. 0. Not even.
I mean, I kind of understand that because you literally just choked against the Pacers.
Yeah, and I've watched barely any of the Stanley Cup, but there's no reason against the Stanley Cup. I would, if I'm going to choose one right now, based on the matchups, I would 100% turn on the Stanley Cup over the NBA Finals.
I agree.
So, anyway, you guys can chat about it, and I'll just listen.
Yeah, Chase, let's attack it, Chase.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely seen a good bit of it that I'm able to stay up for, but it's been interesting. I definitely gotta say, it's I know some of these overtime games get long, but definitely, I would say it's been going about as expected. Um, we talked about how important it was for Edmonton to basically just have to go and win both games at home. They went 1-1, so it's not awful. They could have went there 2-0, but then going back to Florida, it just seems like they kind of let it unravel a little bit. I don't know if that's just because they are feeling the pressure from last year at all, or if there's just such a level gap in between their composure and what Florida's been able to do this postseason, which kind of seems like that, where they go out there, they can score a minute into the game, less than a minute into the game, and it's been consistent, and then they score in bunches, and they get penalties, and it's a tough uphill battle to go against, especially when you have to go against a good goalie. Like we talked about at the beginning of this matchup, there's definitely a clear advantage with Florida right now, having Bobrovsky over Stuart Skinner. I mean, he looked out of control last night. Yeah,
There's a clear gap.
It looks like it's just leveled. It looks like an A level player versus a D level player, and it's not that they're that far apart. They're both NHL goalies, but you can tell when somebody has had the experience and been there and done it and won it versus been there, done it and lost. And just it's pretty crazy to watch it play out, but you can still see guys like Edmonton with McDavid still doing what he can do, and obviously with a disadvantaged team. Like he doesn't have the weapons that Florida does, and he's still able to do the things he's able to do, which is just speaks to the type of player he is. But
not to interrupt you, but I'm sure it's going to be talked about a ton if they lose. What does it do to McDavid's legacy? I'm sure like that's going to be a conversation if they lose to Florida. Like, is his legacy tarnished? Not like being able to get, like, I don't know in hockey how that correlates to greatness, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a cup cements your legacy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it defines you, like if you don't get it.
Yeah.
I think for his caliber of player though, they're just always gonna compare him to Gretzky. So I don't know if that's like also just a fair comparison versus like
Right.
the time, the teams he had, the competition level, like I don't know. I don't really know that. I don't know that deep into it, like if it's gonna define it, but I would definitely say he would give everything he has for one Stanley Cup. Like, not even to have multiple. I think he would do anything just to have one.
Yeah.
So,
I remember seeing him after the game or after game 7 last year.
I think modern day media fan bases, they don't always judge that, but throwing all that out the window, he wants one more than anything, which is So I for sure. I mean, I think last year destroyed him. So it is. But we're only 3 games in.
Yeah, only 3 games in. Still a young series. We saw last year they can bring it back to 7 and be down in a bigger hole, but they definitely need to figure some things out. They definitely don't look like a team that's close by any means. It seems like the gap has gotten further since they lost in overtime. Kind of a heartbreaker. It feels like they just let the gap get way too big, and this is the problem that happens with a lot of teams that this postseason is where they get Florida in a position where they can beat them in a game, and then it feels like Florida just comes out and continues to play that they want to play the style that they want to play, and the other teams are just still trying to be perfect. And it's with Florida, they don't have to be perfect at anything. They just want to get shots in, have pressure, and play good defense. Like they're really not doing anything that's like requires 100% of anything. Like they they need 100% effort. That's really all they need from all their guys. And it feels like Edmonton is just trying to figure out how to score on every single play. And it's like you're never gonna beat this team like that. Like you're just gonna die a slow death if you keep trying to do this.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get beat up, you're gonna start losing guys, and you're gonna spend a lot of time in the penalty box. And you definitely don't want to be giving Florida any type of advantage the rest of the series.
Yeah. I mean, we said last week they needed the first 2 games, like you said. Honestly, game 2, if they lose this series, it's because of game 2. It was Chase. It was a heartbreaker. You're dead on with that. And I feel like it kind of relays that game and those overtimes to the whole series, where not only does Edmonton feel like they're pulling at teeth and battling uphill, but you can clearly see the depth in Edmonton is not there as much, and they start relying on their first line to carry these heavy minute long games. And we talked about with the Knicks, at some point it can start catching up to you. And I mean, McDavid alone, their whole first line in that overtime game, I mean, you could just see their skates were moving slower and slower as they got through the first overtime into the second. And we talked about Edmonton wanting to force Florida into making an adjustment. Well, now I think it's time that Edmonton just has to do something, right? Because they're obviously undermanned at goalie. Florida, they put pressure on so early, and they can park the bus in the first period if they want to with Bobrovsky
Yeah.
back there. I mean, it is a clear stone wall from their back 2 guys through him. Through it seems like, at least two lines, if not more. And
Is Bobrovsky a Hall of Famer? Will he be like a?
I don't know. That's actually a good question.
I'm just curious. I don't
know if I know
Yeah.
more because he was a Flyer at one point.
Yeah.
But he's been in the league forever. He has. I
Yeah.
think that he just has this one ring, right, Chase?
Yeah. And he has a Vezina, so that's like best
That's right,
regular
yeah.
season goalie. Yeah.
Okay. I was
So
curious. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's. I completely agree that this can go 7 games again, and I'm not saying Edmonton's done, but it's very clear that game 2's. I don't care what happens the rest of the way, how many heartbreak is game 2. If were they down 3-0 last year,
yeah,
and then they almost became
they
the first
almost
team
did it.
ever. So it's like they have the ability in them, but it's games like game 2 that'll make or break.
Yeah.
My bet of over 4 goals is looking sus.
For McDavid.
Yeah.
So he's at 0 through 3 games.
Yeah.
He
if
just keeps giving them away to people.
I'm
He
gonna
start
also,
taking it for himself.
Yeah.
if they're gonna win, he's gonna have to score 4 goals. So
I
mean,
the good news for you is this could easily go 7 again.
he can have a
He's
game.
definitely a type of player where he can go out and have a hat trick.
Yeah.
Like he is that type of player. He's been so. I think the problem too was pretty big, and we haven't actually brought it up, which is kind of bad on us. But they lost Zach Hyman in the last round. Like he broke his wrist. I'm assuming they didn't actually confirm that, but pretty much if you watch the video, he gets cranked in the forearm and it looks like a wrist. It just gets pulled back. So losing him is definitely big because now it's only Draisaitl, McDavid, and they're kind of trying to push in like Perry, Nugent Hopkins, Evander Kane to try to fill that hole. And I don't think they're really able to do that. Like, I just don't know if they're the same caliber of guy. And also, they're all a little bit different than what Zach Hyman can do. So it's definitely showing, like you said, Ryan, like the depth of just even losing him. Like, he made up a
Yeah.
lot of difference on a lot of their lines, and now it doesn't seem like they can have that flexibility. Like they'll start McDavid off, and then eventually, like it just ends up being him and Draisaitl on the same line for most of the game, even though they're trying to switch it up. But it doesn't seem to work. Like however they keep it going. So
Yeah. We'll see. It's not looking great. Hopefully, when we're back here next week, we're still talking about it. For sure, must win game 4, right? For Edmonton.
oh yeah. I think every game is must. I don't think you can lose another game. If you're Edmonton, there's no room for losing another game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fair. That game 2 for sure, heartbreaker. But let's pivot to the other finals. The one that Ben has no no.
I'm so glad I didn't watch game one, by the way. So I just decided after that, no need. I would have been pissed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so NBA Finals. I actually have watched. I probably watched more than the Stanley Cup, which I'm not even really happy about. But I'm not happy about it. Just how it's worked with my scheduling these past few days. But it's going exactly how I've said it's going to go so far. If the Pacers were going to win a game, it's going to be game one. Thunder came out, and we all knew they were going to show who they were in game two. And I'm not at because of that way game one played out and the Pacers season, their playoff series and their individual games have played out. I'm not going to say Thunder in 5 still, but I think it's very clear that the Thunder are the better team. They can match at depth. They've done better at matching at height than I thought. And just their coaching staff is really nice as well. And I haven't watched much of this Thunder team at all in the last few years. You really get a chance to be put on the big stage. But yeah, the Pacers, if they were going to get a game, they squeaked it out in game one. I don't know if they're going to get another one. I have my pick of under 5.5 games still.
Still looking strong.
Yeah. Yeah. I rolled and I need to. I'm hot right now because I rolled that I went Florida puck line for game two with the Thunder alt spread of game two, and that I mean smashed easily. So
Feeling it.
I'm feeling it right now, but so are the Thunder. And to Ben's point, though, I mean, you look at the odds for them to win. You know they're probably going to win. SGA is probably going to win it, the Finals MVP. But you know, kind of is what it is. I am salty the way the Thunder built this team, but I will say the SGA is a fun player to watch, whether you like the Thunder or him as a person. His game's gnarly. He's one of the few players that have still made the mid-range look great. It's like freaking Dwayne Wade out there just doesn't even want the three. He wants 2 steps in, pull up, and you know it's nothing but net every time. And he's a fun player to watch. So more of that, less of Hartenstein's little dumb flick, and Thunder should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to own up. I've watched 0.0 seconds of the finals so far.
Hey,
Just really uninspiring, but I do agree. If there is a team that I watched this season that if I like caught a few glimpses of, or if I just clicked the highlight package, it was probably of the Thunder just to watch SGA. I do respect this game a lot. I feel like he's kind of like a unique player where, like you said, just the size, his ability, and like his willingness just to take the two over the three sometimes, and he'll still fill up the scoring sheet. So it's not even
yeah,
a matter of he's worried about getting to 50. He can get to 50 any way he wants to, which is really
yeah,
impressive. I feel like nowadays, like so many guys just rely on the three in their game and the fill up scoring, especially like whereas a guy like him can just do it the old school way where he can rack up the twos and then put the daggers in you with the threes, and I feel like that's really the sign of, like, an elite player when they can do that, or they just know how to end you, so good luck to the Pacers. I don't think it's gonna happen, but, they're making it exciting at least. That's I feel like at least the biggest thing is it's not gonna be blowouts. I mean, it might be going forward, but you never know. I
yeah,
mean, they're both scrappy enough teams where I don't feel like it's gonna happen much where, uh
yeah,
yeah, but it's, it's definitely, the weird part is not being in the playoffs at all this whole time has made me I haven't felt this way as like a Sixers fan in such a long time where it's like I'm happy in a way that like this is all like kind of wrapping up now and it's like gonna go the way it's gonna go. But it does give me a little bit of excitement up for the Sixers. Like I do have to say, like I don't want to get all about the two teams that we don't really like to talk about anyways, but um like, just because it's been so down to have, like, a little bit of hype going into the draft and being like, "We're gonna get a shiny new toy coming up in a few weeks," like, that is exciting basketball-wise.
yeah,
Even though, like, I'm not hype on the finals, I will say, like, I'm excited that we're gonna get something, and does that mean anything? Does that mean we're gonna win, uh, 60 to 60 games next year? I don't know, but I think it's going to give us a little bit better odds than we had this year. So that is exciting. So knowing that this series is going to go and has going to go however it's going to go, but at least on the horizon, there's like going to be some nice things coming up in the near future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. We stopped watching basketball in like February, basically.
Oh yeah.
And so, 4 months later, it's still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, to straight how we just said with the Oilers, every game it's 1-1. Every game's a must win for the Pacers. The
Oh
only
yeah.
thing the NBA has holding one of them is that the Pacers can overcome 15 to 20 point deficits in the second half. And I guarantee you hear Mike Breen say that about 37 times these next 3 games as the Thunder probably just whoop on the Pacers to finish it out in 5.
Oh yeah.
Not
They're
many
definitely
bang
getting it.
opportunities in his future.
No, yeah. You never know. These could have been the best games of the series that just happened, and now it
Yeah.
could just be
Game 1
just
NBA Finals, Game 2 Stanley Cup. I was glad I caught the ends of both of those.
yeah.
So if anything else, I'm satisfied.
Yeah. And real quick, I just realized if the Stanley Cup, if it goes 7, it would be the Friday night before your wedding. Would be Game 7.
So
Oh snap! All
we're all
right.
available to watch, just not together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Dang.
right. Well, moving on from the NBA Finals, which no one cares about, to WNBA, which I
I
watched.
care a little bit about it.
All right, Ryan cares a little bit about it. But WNBA, I went to my first game on Sunday, Mystics and Sun. It was
1 to 10 recommend someone going.
an 8. It was
Okay.
it was good. It was fun. The final score was 104 to 67, though. So the Mystics destroyed the Sun. Like it was
Oh.
like
When was it over?
I think the Sun were down by like 12 going into the third quarter, and then I think the Mystics went on like a 9-0 run to start the third quarter, and then it was game over.
They only played 104 points.
Yeah, everyone got really excited when they got 100.
That
yeah,
is crazy.
There's only
so
13 teams. Where's the competitiveness, son? What was Alyssa Thomas doing?
chilling on the Mercury.
Or Tina Charles?
She was putting in work. She had
That's right.
15 and 9, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Straight
Helping the
stat.
fantasy team.
This year like 16 in the league for her. So to be getting
Not
like,
a good 15 and 9. That is a very
she
awful
probably
15 and
shouldn't
9.
be, if she was on a winning team, she probably shouldn't be getting the minutes she's getting on the Sun. Sun just dismantled their team. But anyway, they're 2-7, better than the Dallas Wings still. So 2 undefeated teams still, the Lynx and the Liberty, 9-0 and 8-0.
When did they play?
It's a great question.
On the Lynx, I'm a little surprised on. I feel like the Liberty, everyone kind of knew.
I mean, that was the the WNBA Finals last year was the Lynx and Liberty.
Yeah, but I still didn't think the Lynx would be
Lakeisha
8-0.
Collier's really good.
It's just weird seeing a Minnesota team being this dominant in anything.
Yeah,
To be honest.
That's true. But no, I had a really fun time in the Mystics game. It was definitely really different. I haven't been to an NBA game since we went in college.
Pre-COVID.
That was the last time I've been to an NBA game. It's been even before that. I went to a Sixers game when I was younger. I went to like a UConn Villanova game when I was younger, but I didn't really go to many basketball games. But it was a fun experience because it wasn't as hectic to get there. A lot less crowded, and you go into the stadium and it's a much different feel. It feels like you're going to like, not that I've been to one, but if I had to guess what like a state championship basketball game was for high school.
Okay.
What about like a minor league baseball team, numbers wise?
It felt smaller than that.
5,000 maybe.
It felt smaller than that. I mean, I don't think there was a bad. The really nice thing about it, I will say, because I feel like I remember going to NBA games and you like looking like at the tops of heads, kind of thing. There was definitely no bad seats. Like it felt like you could have no bad seats in there, and you felt really close to everyone. Like I had really good view of everything, and like I felt really close to everything. Like you could walk along the concourse and you could literally down the one aisle just see like the stairs. They weren't even blocked off, just stairs right to the players, like 100 yards away or less, not even.
So was this I didn't realize, was this a stadium built for?
It's the Care First Arena, so it's not where the Wizards play.
Yeah, does every WNBA team have their own stadium?
I don't know. I don't know who else plays.
Not that basketball teams.
It's a
have
weird
their own.
setting. You go in and it's like past an abandoned like college campus.
Oh,
Okay.
It's like an abandoned college campus almost. There's like buildings on buildings of just abandoned, but they're like look like they used to be dorms and stuff. But it was fun, and tickets were super reasonable. It was like $25 a person. Definitely just a lot smaller than I'm used to. I've been to so many MLB games recently. It's not the same amount of people. Like even halftime when we went up to get for food, and you expect lines to be crazy long. It took us like 5 minutes to get through a line. So I had a fun time, and I really liked how there was just I could see everything so well, and I felt like no matter where I had sat or where I'd gotten tickets, it wouldn't have been bad at all. So it was cool. I liked it. I would definitely go again.
Nice.
Definitely go again to a game.
A Sun game or just any game?
I can go to any game. I mean, then the Mystics, I'll say that team, that young team is so good. Like Sykes is doing her thing, but like Irafin and Citron, like they're that team. Maybe give it a year or two, depending on what happens next year with the CBA.
Where are they at right now in the standings? They're competitive, night in, night out.
Probably like 8th or 9th, 4 and 6.
Well, seems like majority of teams make the playoffs, so they're fine.
They'd be out of the playoffs right now. I think they're 9th, 9 out of 13.
So they'll make the playoffs.
Only top 8 do.
I'm gonna make. Can I bet on that?
Probably. I mean, they had the 3rd pick, the 4th pick, and the 6th pick in the draft this past year. So they stacked up, and only one, the 6th pick I think tore ACL, but Citron and Irafin, I mean, they look so good. They were doing whatever they wanted to do against the Sun. I mean, the Sun just didn't come there to play. I did not know that on a. Oh man, now I'm forgetting. Is it a technical or is it
flagrant?
There's something where they just add a point. They don't shoot for you. They just add a point.
What?
Now I'm forgetting what happened. I'll have to look it up after. But I was really surprised. They just added a point to the score.
Did they do anything different for their in-season tournament? Like the NBA is the weird courts and stuff.
Court wasn't different. No. Nope.
The ball was probably a lot
it was the in-season tournament.
Ball was probably so much.
I'll have to see why they do that. That'll be a stat guy thing at some point.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was fun though. It was fun. I would do it again. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, let's go to NASCAR to end the show. Chase gives us a quick update. And again, where else are you going to get WNBA and NASCAR back to back?
Nowhere. Not even ESPN. They probably just cut it out.
Oh yeah,
make it seem like they did talk about it, but they didn't. This past weekend, this past weekend was in Michigan. Pretty good race, I would have to say overall. Another Amazon Prime delight. They really just doesn't seem like they know what they're doing yet with NASCAR. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch. I definitely want to enjoy it because I know at some point they're going to figure out how to make it absolutely annoying to watch. But for right now, they're still trying to figure it out. So I'm enjoying it along the way. Denny Hamlin gets his 3rd win on the season. Pretty impressive. He just did it kind of old-fashioned, kind of classic Denny Hamlin, where he gambled, got some gas, made it, hold off until the end of the race, and then pretty much ran out while he was doing his celebration. So he had just enough, literally, in his tank to get it done. I will have to say, I was looking at the playoff standings overall, just because I want to touch on that because it's pretty much the most important thing at this point in the season. William Byron's still in 1st place. Playoff points wise, this is the thing I want to focus on because it gets a little crazy. Like you would think rankings wise, you probably have a lot of playoff points and you don't, which is the thing that kind of is a little bit crazy right now at this point in the season. So William Byron, first place, got 12 points. Kyle Larson, second place, he's got 23 playoff points. That's the most. Third place, Denny Hamlin, 18 playoff points. Fourth place, Christopher Bell, he's got 16 playoff points. Fifth place, our guy, Chase Elliott for the year. He's got no wins, 3 top fives, 7 top tens, no DNFs. He's only led 95 laps, and he doesn't have any stage wins. He's got 0 playoff points right now, but he's 5th in total points.
What?
So weird.
Yeah, and behind him, Tyler Reddick, 6th place, 0 playoff points. Same thing.
So there's a gap.
There's a gap, but then there's guys behind them. Ryan Blaney, 7th. He already has a win on the year. He's got 8 playoff points. Ross Chastain's, he's got a win on the year, 5 playoff points. Joey Logano behind him, 7. And then there's a 2. And then Chris Buescher has -4. So it's not going pretty well for him. But yeah, it's just crazy because you get 5 for a win and then 1 for a stage win. So, 5 points for a win and then 1 point for stage win. So
Is that
obviously,
is that how you win the championship? Is whoever has the most points at the end?
no, so that's just where you'll be for the playoff rounds, and then
Okay.
you add it up, and then they basically, like it'll be 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and it,
Okay.
like, resets after each round, and then you just try to get the most in that round, but
So
it'll
that,
go
like
towards it, yeah.
you win when you're in the playoffs. If you just start winning, you'll win the championship.
Yeah, like, if you just keep stacking up the points, like, I think this is more just seeding wise, but, it still kinda doesn't make any like it's still a little bit crazy that Chase Elliott can have 464 points on the year, no playoff points, but he's 5th, and he's in the
Yeah.
playoff picture.
And to be that consistent, like, it's probably really hard too, just to be like,
Yeah, not get a win. He's gonna get a win, Chase. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
like DFA there. Whatever.
yeah, he doesn't he hasn't been in any wrecks. He really
Yeah.
just finishes, like, top 20 at least, usually top 10, it seems like on
Yeah.
the season. I mean, he's got 7 top 10s and 3 top 5s. The guys above him have a little bit more, but not that much. Like, they're not really blowing it away. Those 4 other guys, though, have a win, and 3 of them have 3 wins, so it's really kinda top heavy, but, yeah, it was just something I was looking over today. I was looking at the standings and just surprised to see that at this point in the season, Chase Elliott's a great driver, but he doesn't have any playoff points, and it's definitely not something to be concerned about, obviously. He's a good enough racer to put himself in this position where he's not, outside of the top 16, but still just interesting to see where everyone's at. I mean, Kyle Larson has just been dominating stage
he's so
wins.
good. He's so
Yeah,
good.
he's just really like, eh, he's he's just taken over that role of a guy who can pretty much every weekend, if something doesn't happen to the car, he's probably going to finish top 5, if not go for the win. And, he's just at that point where he can't not come away with a bunch of points even if he doesn't win. He's still picking up a stage win, he's still being productive, and it was something that early on in the season, Bubba Wallace was doing. I thought he was really putting himself in a good position. He's been kinda quiet, got a top 5 finish here. He has 7 playoff points in the year, or so, pardon me, 2 playoff points in the year, and those were just his stage wins. Like, he had 2 pretty early in the year, and then I was like, "Alright, that's good momentum for him," and then it's kinda dropped off, so some of that was accident, some of that was bad finishes, some of it was just mistakes on penalty, like, getting
Yeah.
penalized on pit road, but, yeah, really interesting. I feel like, I don't know where they were playoff standing wise last year. I kind of want to go back and look at this point in the season to see who was where, but it's still interesting. It really doesn't matter. Once they get into the playoffs, it's all about finishing in that point. And some guys are gonna rise to that occasion, obviously better. Joey Logano being ninth, obviously, he's gonna go in. Just the fact he makes the playoffs is gonna be big for him. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see, but it's definitely been good. This weekend, they're in Mexico at the road course, so this will be somewhat of a big race, and, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't really have a prediction for the race this weekend. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it'll probably be someone who doesn't have a win gets one. I feel like that's the way it's gonna go this
Oh,
weekend.
Bubba.
Yeah,
It'll
Chase.
be Bubba.
Chase, I mean, like wins matter, right? I just want to ask you, like, do these drivers care about stage wins? Do they care about that?
I don't think so. I think they more care about the wins, the race win. I think they
Yeah.
get the stage win if they get it, but
Like,
there's
I mean,
definitely
like
guys,
you have
yeah.
strategy too throughout the race. Like, it's not like I need to make sure I'm winning after the end of the first stage. It's like it's a long race. So I mean, maybe Elliott and Reddick, and I mean, people are going to get stage wins because people are going to get stage wins. But in my opinion, it's still a fairly new thing. This whole point setup, right? A couple 5 years, 10 years. It's not
Yeah.
anything crazy new. To me, I mean, you want to win the race, but is Chase Elliott out there saying, "Damn, I don't have any stage wins yet this year"?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think some teams kind of put it more in I think they put more thought into it, but I for some reason his team I don't know. I don't really get that sense from them. Like I think they just kind of go with however the race is going. Like I don't think they ever try to step out of line and
Like no one's
I don't
making
know.
moves like it's the last lap of stage one. No one's like going
No.
balls to the wall to snag that stage if they can.
Yeah, not really. Like they're not gonna race for it like it's the last lap of
Yeah.
the entire race, yeah.
Can I just ask
I don't know.
quick?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like Chase Elliott definitely drives a lot like his dad did, where he was a really fast driver, but he was just patient, like at times too. Like he would let the race play out and then put himself in that good position. So,
Yeah.
uh, which is obviously evident of the season he's having so far, almost 500 points and doesn't have a win.
Yeah. That's crazy. Just a question before we wrap it up. Chris Boucher has -4 playoff points. How do you get negative?
I don't know what. Yeah, I was looking at that. I
I
don't know
wonder if
how
it's a
Chris Busher ended
penalty.
up with
Okay.
-4
It had to
playoff
have been like a
points.
penalty or some type. He probably did
So
something
is he
not okay.
below zero all the zero guys then?
Yeah, because there's no one else has a negative
I was
total.
just you don't I mean you can figure out another like for next podcast or something. I
Wait,
just
hold on a second. I have also a question. I thought Martin Truex retired.
Where is he at?
he's on the very
He's in the
bottom.
bottom. He raced
Oh yeah,
one
he
time.
did, but he raced Daytona.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, DNF.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Okay.
yeah,
I saw the negative. I was like, what the heck?
But that
I know,
doesn't
I
mean you're
don't know what
top
that's about.
16. When the playoff line comes, if you have a win, you're in. And then I'm guessing it goes playoff points next. So I
Yeah.
mean he wins and all
Yeah.
of that goes out the window.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't think they've been penalized for anything. There's been a lot of penalties this year, but I don't think the 17 was penalized for any.
Okay. All right. Well, we can wrap it up there. I just want real quick, not planned, but I just have like a 1 minute card story I want to just share. So long story short, I used to do YouTube for sports cards. Back, used to back when I was like 13, 14. I used to do breaks and stuff for sports cards. Then I took a giant break because college, high school, it's not cool anymore. Things get busy, whatever. So if you were to go to like my for the fun of the hobby, the oldest ones, they are from like 14 years ago. They're still there. And they're like me with a very different voice, probably still going through puberty, whatever's happening in life.
Is that pre-lifting?
I don't know, I might be in better shape then. Anyway, I opened this box of 2010 Supreme. I think it was 2011 is when I opened this box. So 14 years ago now. And I pulled this Andre Johnson 1/1 cards. And it was the N. It was a game used N from his last name. So what they did is they took like the nameplate of a game used jersey and then they cut it up into pieces in the card. So the card is just an N.
Did you get the Andre N or the Johnson N?
No, there's Well, there's two ends in John. First of all, there's two ends in John's, but second of all, it's only the nameplate.
Okay. Sorry, that was a bad question.
However, I have saved searches on like eBay and stuff. And anyway, 2 days ago, the N popped up on eBay, and there's two N's. But I looked, and like you could kind of sell it sometimes stitching. Like it looked very similar. It looked the same. So I messaged the guy and asked him basically, and he said he got it in 2011 from some guy from some breaker basically he didn't know, and I like sent him the video and asked him, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I bought it from you. And then I messaged him and basically bought it. So now I'm getting the card back 14 years later that I pulled in 2011.
What?
It's pretty crazy. So anyway, I wanted to share that.
Is this the first time you've gotten a card back like that?
I think so. There's a few cards. There's also like, if you go back, I have like 4 videos. I also pulled like an Albert Pujols autograph and stuff back then, which there's no way I'm.
So you watched one of these videos, saw the Andre Johnson card get pulled. You sold it.
No, I pulled it. I opened the box.
Yeah, you opened it, but you watched this video.
No, what video did I watch?
Hold on a second. Now I'm confused.
I showed him. I sent the guy the video. It's my video.
But he has the card.
He had the card, but he listed it online. I haven't seen the card since 2011.
Because you sold it.
I sent it to the guy.
But how did you watch the video? All right.
We'll carry this conversation off. Anyway, it was really cool. I'm getting the card back. I paid probably too much for it, but I'm really excited because it's a card that I literally had 14 years ago. I'm getting it back, and it's a 1-on-1. So
that's obscene. That's really crazy.
The other guy is still that in the cards too. He probably has a nice collection as well.
Probably. So anyway, and with that, so I hope everyone enjoyed.
Sorry for ruining the story.
No, that's fine. We'll talk later. All right. Episode 108. See ya.
Peace.